In this video, we are going to talk about utilizing Schoology's rubrics to create custom rubrics to attach to your assignments, discussions, and things of that nature. So there's two ways that you can create a rubric. And again, there's some different resources inside of our module slides as well as our resources in the course. So what you can do is under any course, I'm just going to use my test course. Under your grade setup, on the far right, you have rubrics. These would display any rubrics you have already created and have added to your course, or I can create one from here. For me, best practice, I like to create things in my resources so I can always push them and pull them to other classes and just to one central location. So again, you can create it here, and once it's created, I can add it to another course. I just like to create it in resources and push it to the classes that I need. So once you are in resources, what you would do is under add resources, towards the very bottom, it says add rubric. Unfortunately, Schoology doesn't have a simple import option for a rubric that you've already created. However, it is just as easy as bringing up a Google Doc, putting your screen side by side, and copying it over. So one of the nice things, and I mentioned it in the Schoology assessment video, is you can tag learning objectives to your rubric. So if you have certain standards or created custom learning objectives that you've done already, you can tag that to your rubric. So the nice thing is that you can see that it will give you your title that you need to put in. You can give it the type of criteria, any description, and then you can do 4, 3, 2, 1. The nice thing about that is I can change these to anything that I want. So if I want to make it 20, 18, say, we'll say 16 and 12. Okay, it's going to total the highest amount, and it's going to total it here. Now, if I want to build down, I just hit add criteria, and it's going to copy that previous line. So if I want it to be multiple times, do 20, 20, 20, we'll do one more to make it an even 100. Then in between, as you see I'm hovering, I can add a column just for this top one. So the nice thing is it doesn't need to be a perfect like 5 by 5 matrix. I can say, okay, I only want 20 and 12. I could do whatever, or I could say I want this one to be 10 or 5, and what you'll notice is it's going to tally the points up as I go. So we will call this a sample rubric, and again, you probably have some rubrics created as well as you're going to create some new ones, because what you want to do is you want to avoid, rubrics tend to be by a lot of educators checklists, certain requirements, what they need to do, and they need to be more open for students to express and kind of show how they've been able to demonstrate and kind of show you what they have learned and how they've understood the material. So that's kind of what you want to focus on when you're creating these custom rubrics, is to kind of get away from that checklist aspect of things. So I'm going to just use this as an example. I'm going to hit create. Whoops. We'll just type a bunch of random letters. Okay, and then I'll just use this one right here. So this is the rubric. So when I go over here, it's in my resources. Again, you can put it in a collection if you have it organized nicely. And you could hit add to course, and then I can click and select the different courses that it is added to. Once you do that, that is where it will display and show up under your grade setup. It will pop up on the upper right-hand corner under the word rubrics. Those will all be there. The nice thing is now, anytime you go to your material, and let's say I'm going to create a discussion. When I create the discussion, and you'll see some, depending on what you choose, how you're attaching your categories and things like that, I'm going to attach a rubric to it now. So I'm going to enable grading, and then you can see under scale and rubric, when I would click this, I could say, okay, I want to choose that sample rubric. I want to show it to students, or you can turn it off. The nice thing is I love that it gives you a quick little window that I can click this here, and I would be able to see the rubric that I created. Obviously, that is a sample. And that is what you would do, is you would select it, bring it up, and then when you hit create, that one is attached to it. And you can tell in your course, once you have a rubric attached, you will see these little gray boxes. That is the different types of criteria in that rubric. So you can see I did one test, sample, and fake. That is the criteria of that rubric. Here's another one, focus 1 and focus 2. So that kind of identifies what has a rubric attached to it. And that is simply how you create rubrics from 2 different places, whether it's under grade setup or resources. But again, the big focus of this is not necessarily on how to create it, but getting yourself to think about getting away from checklists and really forcing the kids into doing something specific rather than leaving it open and allowing them to demonstrate how they learn the material.